I like to date white girls to see what their mother look like. If you feel offended about me saying Plan B one step, naming it after the morning after pill, I don't care. If you like listening to it, okay. If you don't, there's a lot of other artists out there you can listen to. But I encourage you to give me a shot. I desperately need this. I'm always on Apex with the white moms, you feel me? Really? Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp don't got nothing on this.
Welcome back to Why the Do You Make Music Podcast. My name is Retro Dre. I'm one of your hosts in the building, and I got next to me my co-host right here. State your name for the people, sir.
D2M Ty.
And we got the illustrious. We got the shock value. We got the epitome of why the do you make this hot music? We got Lor Reese in the building, man. Make some noise.
Lor Reese, Lor E, hyphenated just like my real name. If y'all know it, y'all know it. Hi. Shout out to all. This is Lil E speaking. Shout out to all the fine white moms. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to all. I got 4 sisters. Shout out to all 4 of my sisters. And then shout out to the white moms. Oh, and last but certainly not least, shout out to Aaliyah Bradshaw.
If you like snow bunnies from Apex, you're gonna love this episode. And you like dope music as well, you're gonna love this. We'll see. Let's get to it. You dig? Lor Reese, why the do you make music, man?
Lor Reese. All right, so for everyone who don't know, Lor Reese makes music because he wants to give people that doesn't have a voice. Certain songs that he has, he wants everyone to be able to express themselves in any way. You know, he don't hold nothing, has no judgment. Want to make sure everybody feels comfortable with the music that he puts out. Now, Lil E, he's the person who's more of a daredevil. He says whatever's on his mind. He doesn't care what the reactions. Matter of fact, he does care because he does it for shock value. He want to make sure everybody gets a reaction like, "Oh my gosh, he said that! I can't believe he said that." He wants to do it for. He does it for himself. He goes into business for himself, but also he wants people to be talking about him, steady talking about him, keep him relevant, because he knows that, you know, he don't have longevity. But Lor Reese is someone who's a little monotone and really takes account into what people want. You know, he has different songs and projects that he wants people to kind of test out, like a test audience watching a movie. See how they like it, what's their reactions. If they don't like it, you know, he can work around that to kind of please them. And not only do that, but to more so find his audience and make sure that people get what they're wanting. He don't want to just, you know, disregard people's ideas, because you don't want to typically do that, especially if you still trying to find your way out. So that's why I make music. I have 2 different characters, so if anybody wondering, well, why you talk about Lil E? Yes, I have 2 characters. They're not, think of it like someone doing a biography on the real life person. Lil E is a real person. Lor Reese is a real person. That's where those come from. Yeah, so that's how that happened.
Smooth. And Lor Reese, how did you come up with like making that?
The name Lor Reese, so the name Lor Reese been active since 2015. But what came about it was, being from Maryland and Baltimore, we always say Lor instead of little. So I was like, you know, Lor. But Reese, funny enough, Reese came from, anytime I would get money, I would spend it all on the Reese candies, because that's what I used to like at the time. So that's why I got Reese. And with it being a $S, that goes to show that for people that I spent X amount of money each time on Reese candies, because, you know, I was a big fan of Reese's peanut butter cups. I still am, but I haven't had it in a while. So that's where the name Lor Reese came from and all that stuff. So
So. And then so you grew up like out in Baltimore?
yeah, so growing up in Baltimore for me, it had its ups and downs and stuff. Honestly, it's probably my first time publicly talking about this, but my biological father, he was not around at all. It was just me and my mom and my grandparents. So when I was born, I was living with me and my mom was living with my grandparents up until I believe '06, '07, I believe. Um, yeah, he wasn't in the picture. I mean, I saw him occasionally, but sporadically. Um, I will also be around my cousins a lot in Maryland or in Philadelphia. I got family on both sides. West Philly to be specifically. So I was always around family, which I'm great for the memories. Greatly appreciate all the memories that I have and still continue to have to this day. So yeah, growing up in Maryland, being a little kid, I always enjoyed everything. Obviously, I'm a Ravens fan, an Orioles fan. I'm not a Wizards fan. No, I'm not a Wizards fan. But yeah, just when I was little, going around to all the different places, because I would always ride with my grandmother. We would always travel somewhere, no matter the distance, no matter what it was. She was always taking me to places and stuff, and I always appreciated those memories because looking back at them now, I'm like, I can tell people about that trip if they were to say they're going to Maryland, like, hey, you can check out this place if you don't have a idea where you want to visit. Like one of the places I would, kind of have people to want to go to is the Inner Harbor, downtown Baltimore. Very great, very great. I used to be down there every Friday after school. My grandmother would take me over there to the magazine areas where I would get the WWE magazines and stuff. So, I was always out there. There's plenty of great places in Maryland, but honestly, not to kind of get on the downside, but as I got older, my I wouldn't say my opinions, but my thoughts on Maryland has kind of changed. Like when I first moved out of Maryland in 2015, I really did not like the change. I wanted to go back. I always said I wanted to, go back regardless if I had an opportunity or not. But as I got older, I realized, I'm not really a big fan of Maryland. Now, Baltimore specifically, I'm not a fan. Maryland, there's some ideal places there, but now that I've been to North Carolina going on 10 years, I kind of really found my home. When I first moved here, 2016, I didn't ideally like it. It didn't take me until the pandemic to really start coming around to it. When the pandemic happened, we was doing, me and my parents, we was doing like small town tours, just driving wherever and stuff. And being able to see North Carolina for what it was, despite all that was going on at that time, really gave me a found appreciation for the state. Because like I said before, I didn't want anything to do with North Carolina, despite me, having no choice to live here. And so now I can confidently call this place home. So that's that.
What what did you see that made you appreciate and want North Carolina to be your home?
Diversity. I know a lot of people, tend to stick with their certain characteristics, but for me, diversity has always been something I've been big on as long as I can remember. Not too long, but diversity being, I would say, yeah, diversity is number one. And number two, actually viewing North Carolina for what it is. Like, I mean, coming here, seeing the cows and stuff, seeing the goats. I like animals. When I lived in Virginia, when I would go to school, we would see the cows sitting in water, just walking around, chit chatting and eating grass and stuff. I like that stuff. And in Maryland, you have that, but you got to go way out But here, it's small stuff that I have appreciation for, being able to see it with no issues and being able to have access to it just right around the corner. What's really gave me the appreciation of North Carolina. Also touring other areas of Wake County and what's the other one, Johnson County, whatever it's called. Yeah, so just seeing the difference of everyone and how people are perceived, how people go about things. Because like I said before, diversity is really something that I don't take for granted. Because I know a lot of people there are centered to what they're centered to is nothing wrong, but for me personally, I like something that has variety. So.
And where did you start like running into music? So like, when did you start like going towards the music path? Was that like once you got to North Carolina, or was that kind of in?
That was before. So I started doing music in 2012. I started because of what I was doing. I was just writing rhymes on line paper.
So you weren't recording yet?
I was not recording yet. In 2012, I was not, because this was like towards the end of 2012. I was just writing rhymes, and then 2013, that's when I did my first recording. Everybody listening to this, my first song is called Fur Coat. Don't look for it on the internet. It's not there. You will not find it. I don't even have the full audio of the song. I have a 15-second snippet of it in my files. That is it. But yeah, Fur Coat, that was my very first song that I ever recorded. It was on the Meek Mill type beat. I remember that. Because I was big in the Meek Mill back in those days.
And what year was this?
When I recorded Fur Coat?
Yeah.
2013. That might have been, it was what, July now? That might have been, I don't know, September 13.
And that was in Baltimore?
Yeah.
You see like a difference like in like the studios and like, like how people record and stuff like that?
That when I wasn't in the studio, I just honestly, I recorded that off my phone. I got the beat. I had two phones. I used the one phone that had the beat. Other one I had to record audio, press record. The audio sounds terrible. If I ever find the full audio, it sounds terrible. But to get back what you said, yes, I do see a difference in studios in Maryland compared to here. I've been to studios in Maryland recently. One shout out to KP down in Canton, over in Canton, got a studio over there. I do see a difference, but it's not a big of a difference. Because with certain artists that come through there, they have a certain idea how they want things to operate, or the engineer have a certain idea they want to implement. And even here, when I come here, me and Dre, we work together on stuff sometimes, especially if I get a little sluggish, or if I have too many words, or if there's something I could just take out, he'll have something better for me. And like for example, real quick, the Jamie Lynn Spears song, wait for that one, y'all love that one. We kind of constructed that in the difference to what I had it originally. It was more sporadic. It was, it was starting to become a freestyle, even though it was meant to be a song. And so we worked together to construct it to be on topic, because it was starting to get off topic and stuff. I had a good pattern going on, but as we went through the song, we noticed the shift. And so we worked together on that to make it a lot more, to get the traction back, and being in Maryland, same thing. So it's not much of a difference, but there's, for certain people, there will probably be a slight difference they'll realize and stuff.
Smooth. And so like, have you done performances in like Baltimore, or like been around like a performance setting with other artists, and like how does that compare to here, like the outside life when it comes to music?
In Maryland, I have not, because I left before I could even really get started. So everything will all be in North Carolina with what I'm about to say soon. When I went to Virginia 2015, that was my first ever performance. everybody. Shout out to all my people in VA, even if y'all don't live there no more. When I moved to Virginia, that was 2015. That was my favorite year before 2023. I started a new school, but in the beginning of the year, I wanted to go back to Maryland because that was my first year out of Maryland. And so everybody, I told people my nicknames because our teachers used to be like, if you had a nickname, just tell me what it is. So me, I don't know why, I was like Lil E. And then I don't know how or why or when, but for everybody there, it just stuck. And they was calling me Lil E. Still to this day. I even had teachers and a principal at points would call me Lil E. And so fast forward, they had a talent show, and obviously I was going to do it. I wasn't going to, just be like, oh, it's whatever. No, everybody was like, yeah, even teachers was pushing for me to do it. So I said, yeah, sure. And I think it was Thursdays we would have rehearsals. I didn't have a specific song that I was doing at that time. I was just doing freestyles to kind of, see where I wanted to go. And the day of the talent show, I remember the entire school was in the auditorium. All the students, teachers, administrators, everybody, all in the auditorium. People knew I was there and stuff. So we was sitting in the music classroom off to the side. And then when people would get called up, they would walk up the stage on the side of the whatchamacallit started coming down and stuff. And I remember when they told me that I'd be next, that's when I had a CD. I remember I had a CD, a burnt CD with a beat on there. Cause I had an album coming out called, it's unofficial. Don't think it's real. It's unofficial. I can't remember what it was called, but one of the songs on it was called Paloma Ford. I don't know if y'all know who that is. Regardless, that was the song I wound up performing. And when they called my name, everybody lost it. They was like, oh my gosh. Like they was cheering like you was a thought that LeBron or Michael Jordan or whoever walked in the building and stuff. And I remember when I walked on the stage, I just looked around. I said, thinking in my head like, shit, they chanting my name. Even the people who I don't recollect seeing, they knew who I was and they was cheering. Everybody was on their hands and knees. I mean, not knees, hands and feet. So I performed the song. Somebody, whoever in Virginia, recorded that on that day. Send me that video. You know what my Instagram is. I've never seen the video. I know people recorded. I've never seen the video. And we're going on 11 years with that. I recorded the song. Not recorded. I performed the song. That was my first, and that, like I said, that was my first ever performance. And I didn't perform again until in front of a crowd until early last year, March. Fast forward. Dre had told me about the Lucky Tree. So I was like, and he told me they had open mics. So I said, okay. So I reached out to him on Instagram and shout out Lucky Tree. I'll be back soon. I'm not a ghost. I had some things going on at that time that really didn't benefit anything. It really killed all my ideas and stuff. So yeah, he told me about it. So I reached out. I cannot remember who I spoke with. I'm sorry, but I will remember your name. Don't worry. And, we talked and she was like, okay, do you want to do it in the beginning, middle, or end? And I said towards the end. I didn't have a real specific one that wanted to do it. In my mind at that time, I was like, all right, let me anticipate my own self in my own world. That's when Lil E was coming out. I was like, no, you're going to do it at the end. You're going to be the main attraction. You're going to be the main event, but no. So, I was driving down and I was practicing because I knew a song I was going to record. The song I was going to perform, Shemaine Walk. Everybody, I know y'all love Shemaine Walk. It's been 2 years since that song's dropped. I got better stuff now. So Shemaine Walk, that was my hottest song the year prior. Engineer on that one, Dre. Yeah. Story about that time, another time or later. So I performed Shemaine Walk, and that was my second performance, but that was my first one in 10 years. So I had I had a whole decade gap of not performing. Because prior to that, I was just recording or writing. Not performing, I wasn't, I would say I probably wasn't hard enough looking for places where I could perform. So it's kind of like it was on me having that delay or gap where I could have, but some of those years was a little difficult for me. So a lot of things I wasn't thinking about at that time compared to now. So yeah, when I performed that song, I have a recording of it. Don't worry, I have a recording of that one. I felt when I looking back on the recording, I felt a little rushed because the song is not long and the song is not full. Because at the end, I'll just repeat the line again, and people who's hearing that for the first time, which was them, they didn't know that the song just had the hook replaying, and so when I knew that part of the song was coming back, I had to improvise. So it kind of got a little awkward at the end, but looking at that, I kind of, got an idea of how I should go about things the next time. So that way I won't be standing there like a statue or something of like Night at the Museum where they just come alive and start being stiff looking and stuff. So that was that. Like I said, I've been, now that I'm in a better position, I've been looking around of trying to perform more and stuff, because I've had some other songs, like I said, that I would like to perform to share with everybody, because I have a lot of songs in my opinion that I feel is catchy. I send people stuff and they say it's catchy, so outside of them, I want to expand that to other people who are not familiar with my stuff, or let alone if they're not fans with it, I would want them to, have some sort of be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. I like his stuff. Even though I'm not a fan of it, I still like, the vibe and stuff. So that's really all it is for that.
Smooth. And then so you said that was in
20, that was 24.
24?
Yeah, it was March 24. Yeah.
Smooth. So what you been up to like this year with the music scene? And
this year, February, this past February, off a whim, I had announced my debut album for Pretty Girls Only. Y'all probably wondering, well, what's the update? Just wait on that. The original title was called Legit Pretty Girls Only, because I have a song called Legit Pretty Girls I haven't gotten around to yet, but I have that song. And I was like, well, it's kind of too long and too complex for an album. And so I was like, let me work around it. And so that's when I thought of For Pretty Girls Only, kind of talking to any audience, all the pretty girls out there. Shout out to y'all. And so my first things first was, I already knew the theme, summertime. Summertime was approaching. We're here now. And so I got the names for the tracks already. I have 7 on the original, and then I have a deluxe that I plan on doing that has 5 tracks on them. And so the thing was getting the beats together, getting all the beats that I felt like I would like to have on there, not for personal or singles, but to actually have on the album. And I got all 12 beats together and stuff. So now you may be wondering, why haven't I promoted the album in a while, in a month? Well, I had some personal things that unsuspectingly came about. And so the reason I haven't gotten the ball rolling with the album is I officially had postponed the album. It's currently still postponed. I will get back to it once I can, but don't you worry. For Pretty Girls Only will still be coming out, even if it's at a time that I, thought it would. It'll come out at a later date. Still be on the lookout, but I have some other projects, other songs that will be coming out to pass the time. So I'm not going to just leave y'all high and dry and be like, well, how you going to talk about an album that he, don't even have finished? So just drop some songs. I got y'all. In 2 weeks, 2 songs dropping out. I won't tell y'all the songs. Y'all just gonna have to wait and listen.
Smooth.
You don't want to give him a snippet? None of that? No snippets?
Snippet?
No.
Y'all want a snippet?
No, no short form content? None of that? You just gonna drop it?
There is one. All right. The second song I will not mention. It will just be a casual drop, like an airdrop. But the first one I will say is called Plan B One Step. Plan B One Step. Well, why'd you call it Plan B? I feel offended. Well, if you feel offended about me saying Plan B One Step, naming it after the morning after pill, that's just how Lil E is. I don't care. Sorry. It's my stuff. If you like listening to it, okay. If you don't, there's a lot of other artists out there you can listen to. But I encourage you to give me a shot. I desperately need this. But no. Plan B One Step. Why did I call it Plan B? I really don't know. Lil E doesn't think, I don't think sometimes, but I know how to make banger songs, even though the topics are always the same. I know how to change the word. So Plan B is hey, guess who's the engineer on that song? Dre. Retro Dre, everybody. Give him a hand. Give him a round of applause. Yes, Plan B. If y'all want to snip it, I can do a little freestyle real quick. No. A, B, C, D. She says she want to feel. Never mind. I ain't going to give y'all no freestyle. Just wait and listen to it when it drops in 2 weeks. Actually, no, in a week. It will drop in a week. The other song is dropping the week after that. So, yes, Plan B One Step, the freestyle. Be on the lookout for that. Who's the cover art, you may ask? It was Tiana Trump. But now, it might be Bonnie Blue. Like I said, my trajectory changes. So I'm not going to keep the same idea I once had. Mind you, Plan B is not a new song. I recorded that in 2023. So yeah, you're getting the old song. I don't care. I still won't like it. Everybody that's listened to the song, anybody that has the song already now, I want you to brag to everybody. Yeah, he sent me that song. He sent me that song way before all y'all heard it. So I know what the song about. I've been rocking that song before it came out. You sure have. Pat yourself on the back. So that's a new project that's coming out soon. Outside of those, I've yet to decide which songs I want to drop before I officially get around to making the album again. So yeah.
So how long you been recording with Dre?
I started with Dre, let me see, when was that? July 2020? No, it was June 2022. It was June 2022. The first song I ever recorded with Dre here at Artist Mills International was, I believe it was called Mackenzie Song. That was the first ever song I recorded, and then the second one was 4 a.m. in Baltimore, the one everybody know. Nobody remember Mackenzie Song. Who was Mackenzie? Nobody in my life. Yes. Since June 2022, I've been coming to him since. So I don't. We may have recorded, whether it's finished or incomplete or not. We may have done, I think, 50 tracks. Something around there, maybe less than that.
I think we had like 25-ish.
25-ish?
Yeah.
All right, so that's a little exaggeration there. No, there's a lot of other things that's exaggerated. So, yeah, it's 25 is still a good number, but yes. And every time I come, every time I come back, I always know what quality I'm getting. Always am ensured that I know things will be top tier, regardless how my actual whatever I have written. I know he'll make things a lot better. Like I said before, if there's some things where we can change, he always have an idea to counter it, to give me, a different insight of what I would probably have before. There's been a couple of songs we've done in the past where we've changed the entire song. Most notably was the Jamie Lynn Spears song. I can't think of any other ones right now, but anytime I come, it's not just me in the booth, he on the board. It's not like that. It's actual like communication. It's a family. It's a family, and ideas and stuff always floating around. Even when I'm in the booth and whatever I got written down, I would change it on the fly because I think of something better. But if he think of something even better to top that, I definitely would choose, especially if it fits. Especially if he feel like that it fits better than what I had before, and the trajectory is getting off track. He'll always put me back on track, regardless if I, want to or not. Most of the times, I don't have no problems with it because looking at looking at the what I had written down prior, I'm like, well, yeah, it don't make sense to have this in this song. So I would usually delete it from that track, but I will always keep it for like a freestyle or something. So those lines never go away, but they always linger. But also overall, we tend to collaborate more often than not. A lot of people don't collaborate really well with their engineers, but with me and Dre, it's like tag team, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian. I mean, like that. So, yeah.
And just to be clear, I do not write his raps. I just help with the creation of the song if needed.
If needed. Dre is not going to be saying no crazy stuff that Lil E be saying. Lor Reese don't say crazy stuff like that. Lil E always got something crazy to say. He always wants somebody to be offended. Not offended, but more so want someone be on the edge of their seats. Like they watching a movie and they so invested. Like how people was watching Endgame in the theaters. Everybody was on the edge of their seat going crazy when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer. That's that moment right there. That's where Lil E always try to get people to have those type of reactions. Even though he don't go about it in the best ways, he still finds that right audience. So, yes.
And what would you say would be like one of your favorite things to do out in like North Carolina, like when it comes to the music scene, and like one of your best like visited places and like a good experience you've had out here since you've been doing the music scene and everything in the area?
I'll probably say my favorite place going, I'm gonna start with this. My favorite place going in general in North Carolina is Apex. Why? I just like the environment. I like the vibe.
It's real spread out there for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's built up a lot since I moved there.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the music scene goes, I would probably say between Raleigh, Durham, and Cary, so in that triangle, those is where I've gotten my most tractions at with the music. My performances have been in Raleigh. I haven't gotten any in the Cary or Apex or anything like that, but that doesn't mean I won't. I could. I'll just need to find a venue for it, a suitable venue for it that hosts stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, you will find me performing in Durham or Raleigh. So, and I'll probably say outside of that, I'm just I'm real low key. I make my music. I say what I say in my stuff. I keep everything on the low. I'm not someone who brags about anything that they got. I'm not someone who always boasts about things that are happening or plan on happening. I don't That's not really me. It's never been my type of thing. More times than not, you will see me just be me casually strolling by myself. Like, for a good example, I like to eat by myself. Restaurants, not just fast food, because that's half of everybody, right? But like, I like to go to restaurants by myself. I just like to have those times to myself where I can debrief. You know, being in a crowd with a lot of people, I can deal with it. I'll show face, but overall, I am not someone who typically out for long. I like to have a set time where I can come back when I want to and do my, just go on about myself. I don't have to be on, I don't always want to be on somebody's time. I want to always have control of my time and go when I feel like I should and when I should. So that's really it.
Smooth. So what's your favorite food spot so far? You like to eat by yourself?
My favorite food spot? First Watch.
First Watch. I mess with it.
Lake Boone Trail. But if you really Lake Boone Trail, that's a real great spot. If you like First Watch, go to Lake Boone Trail. It's right in Raleigh.
And if you want to go to the studio after you eat First Watch, hey, I'm always sitting in the cut and just pull right around the corner.
Yeah.
There has been somebody who has gone to First Watch and then come to the studio. Cause you guess who that is? Oh, me. Me. Yes. No, First Watch is a good spot, and coming to the studio after, especially for a big person, if they in the studio, they like, yeah, I just ate at First Watch. Now I'm in the booth on my own looking at the watch. Something like that. That was not a good freestyle. So don't take it don't hold it against me. First Watch. There's a place, if anybody's not familiar, I suggest you go. There's a place called the Shiny Diner. It's over there by Crossroads. Literally, like right there at Crossroads. Shiny Diner. Very good spot. Very good spot. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They serve breakfast all day. So if you want pancakes at 9 o'clock, go right over there. Other places, I probably would say, on occasions, do not go frequently because it's pricey, but on occasions, special occasions, I like to go to Perry's. I like to go to Perry's.
It's right up the street too.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say how many times I've been there. I don't want nobody to be like, ooh. No, but Perry's is always a great place. I'm not going to get into the niche about the dollar signs. I'll get into it at another time. But yes, Perry's. Even Sullivan's over there at Glenwood Avenue. Sullivan's, that's a nice spot. Oh, that just reminded me. My absolute favorite, a place me and my mom will go to occasionally. We haven't been in a while, but Mojo's, the burger joint. Right there in Glenwood Avenue. Right across from where the Mellow Mushroom is, and then later the Starbucks, McDonald's. Mojo's. If you go, make sure you sit outside. You can see everybody walking, the cars coming, and plus it's a great atmosphere. If you sit in the bar, it's fine. But I like sitting outside, sitting by the window. Oh, real quick, shout out to the First Watch in Bradford. All the servers over there, impeccable job. I was over there yesterday. I'll be back over there in the next week. Look out for me. Shout out to my homegirl too, who know I always like Britney Spears. Much love from over here.
So you said you ate First Watch one time before you came into the studio. So
yes.
is it like something that's like a kind of like a reoccurring thing? It's like, okay, I'm going to the studio. I got to have this. I got to do that.
It was just a one-time thing. It was actually a casual thing because I was already out and I was like, well, I'm close to First Watch. I might as well come. It was more so I was hungry. I was like, let me sit in because I wanted to sit in. And then, because I had a session at 12, I came at like 10. So, and I wasn't far away. So, yeah, it was just a one-time thing.
Nah, that's I know some people, they got their things. They be like, I'm going to the studio. I got to do this before I go. Or I got to.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
it was just a one time thing. Now, I'll admit everybody, most of my songs that I've recorded and have out, you wanna know where I wrote those songs at? I'm not embarrassed to say it actually. That was at Hooters. Most of my songs, Hooters right by the airport. Right by the airport. You can ask everybody that was over there at that time. I was sitting down there writing. So yeah.
That's smooth. That's smooth.
What made you want to write, besides the obvious reasons, at Hooters?
Honestly, I would be there with I would be there with my girl at the time. Cause she worked there. And so I would always be there to see her. But in between, I was always, always on my phone and I was listening to beats that I would be using or want to use, and I would just start writing. Cause I had, different ideas pop up and stuff like that. So that's really how that came about.
So you decided to write in the strip club too, huh?
No comment. I'm joking. I'll be occupied with the computer paper.
So what's some of your other favorite things to do? Like you wake up, you bored. What's the first thing you probably thinking about going to do?
Taking a drive. I honestly I do that often. Even if I don't go somewhere specifically, I'm just driving. Now most of the time I am driving to Apex, not seeing anybody, but I'm taking a trip to Apex or Holly Springs or Fuquay. Just taking the drive just to get out the house. Cause sometimes when I'm in the house for long, I feel like, I don't feel trapped, but I feel like, I don't get bored, but I start to had that urge come about. So that's why I like taking drives. I like going for walks. There's some places I've seen that had the green ways or green trails, whatever you want to call them. And I've been thinking about, walking on them. But the problem is where I'm going to park. I'm not going to park in somebody's house. I don't know them unless I befriend them. That's different. Overall, yeah, I like taking walks, like taking drives. I like having my dog with me he likes car rides as much as I do. So, we work as a team on that. What else? I like drawing. I haven't drawn in a while, but that's still something that I occupy myself with. Obviously, everybody's wondering, video games. Yes. I like playing video games.
What's your favorite game?
All time? Or just all time? All right, my favorite video game all time, this might surprise y'all. You ready for it? Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9.
Mortal Kombat, heck yeah.
Now, y'all might say, well, Mortal Kombat, yeah, nah. Yes, I've played Mortal Kombat on the PS2. Yes, I have. Graphics improved. It had Freddy Krueger in Mortal Kombat 9. But my favorite character in Mortal Kombat, real quick, Noob. All time. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is my favorite game. Yeah. But those are things I like to do typically.
Why is Noob your favorite character?
It was so easy to use. He had duplicates. It was like watching Scream. You had two ghost faces. You got two noobs. One noob is holding the other one back while I manually control the one I'm controlling, beating people up and winning. Noob. It's in the name. Yeah, so that's...
Did you have a favorite combo you like to use with them?
No.
Favorite fatality?
Button mashing. That's what I was doing. Button mashing. XA, XA, XY. Repeat the cycle. It's been a while, so I can't remember a fatality offhand. So that's why I
Gotcha.
said yeah. So it's been a minute.
I ain't gonna lie, I've never really been that good at Mortal Kombat.
I'm not good at Mortal Kombat. Like I said, button mashing, I exposed the business on myself. But yes, Mortal Kombat, button mashing is what I would do. Like y'all, if y'all remember Injustice, the superhero game, same thing, button mashing. Like I didn't specifically learn the controls. Now sometimes I would look on the guide to kind of see different moves to change it up or not. But every so often I would be button mashing.
I had two little brothers growing up, and that was just the one game that just never went my way. Yeah, I'm up there, they hopping over me, spinning around, pulling me back over there. I'm like, oh man.
Actually, there is another game that I like more than Mortal Kombat, actually. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay.
I got that game in 2010, I believe, because the game came out 09, the same as the movie. Brief story on the movie, X-Men Origins Wolverine. I know a lot of people don't like the movie, but I like the movie. I remember my mother calling my cousin because she had it on bootleg. Y'all remember bootleg?
Okay.
I remember I was like, could I have a copy? She burnt the CD the same night, went over my grandparents' house on my biological father's side. We all sat down, watched it during the barbecue. That was a good memory. But the video game was much better. The Uncaged edition, that's the one I have. Albeit 2025 is when I beat the game entirely. Because when I was little, I had some obstacles I could not get around. Because that game does have some tricky obstacles for no reason. But in 2025, after a long 14 years, I was able to beat the game. Pat myself on the back for that. And Deadpool, boy howdy. That was a much pain in the ass boss fight than Blob. His fat ass walking through the grocery store, munching on cookies like the Cookie Monster. Hung, Hong Kong Fooey. Yeah.
Smooth. What else you feel like a good bit of your audience could know about you that they probably don't know yet?
That me, Ethan, that's the real name for everybody, is very devoted to my craft. Like when I say I got gimmicks or characters, Lor Reese and Lil E. Yes, it sounds silly to people, but they're real life people. Lor Reese is Ethan. I'm about to expose myself, but Lor Reese is Ethan Torres Smith, me, and Lil E is Ethan Torres Logan, which I formerly was. Nobody knows that, but now y'all do. I'm very devoted, not just in music, but anything else I set my mind to. I'm very, very on top. I like to be on top of things.
How come the name changed? You don't mind me asking?
For which one?
You say you was Ethan.
Oh,
Logan Smith.
Yes. So my mom got married in 2012, and who she married, her husband adopted me in 2014, and he adopted me, and that's when I remember I didn't want to drop Logan at all. I said I refused to drop the name. It never was proposed to me that I dropped the name Logan. I just didn't want it out of my last name. But I was too young at the time to realize I couldn't have 3 last names. I know y'all probably laughing, but at the time I didn't know that because I wanted to be about to expose myself again. But y'all look at it on the Wikipedia, y'all already gonna know this. So my name when I was born was Ethan Joaquin Torres Logan. But when it got switched, I wanted it to be Ethan Joaquin Torres Logan Smith. But my mom was like, the judge said they couldn't have that, which now I understand, obviously. But so she was like, okay, well, how about this? We just put Logan as your middle name. I said, that's perfect. Because I didn't want to drop it. And so that's the only way it would have worked. And so now I'm Ethan Joaquin Logan, no hyphen, Torres Smith. Because I didn't want to drop Logan. You know, that's been my name. That was my name for 11 years, and I didn't want to drop it. You know, I was glad to be adopted and, you know, have. Because my mom was just Torres. But once she got married, she became hyphen as well. So I looked at it also like, you know, I wanted to match, I wanted to have, you know, Torres Smith be matched with my mom since she's Torres Smith now. So that's how that came about. And I remember when was in school, because I was in the middle of school when that changed. And for a good couple of months, I struggled with the change. Because when I would write my name on the papers and stuff, even some papers I turned in, it had Torres Logan, but I was no longer that. And I remember I had to inform teachers and stuff that, you know, I had my name changed. And some of my work I would turn in would have Torres Logan on them, but I wasn't that no more. If, you know, it's like I always, when I talk about it, which is rare, but I always look at it like how the WWF turned into the WWE in the middle of the year. That's kind of how I look at it, because it's like you've been known as this for so long, and then you have to change it right away. You know, things take time to get used to with change. You know, so I'm better now, obviously, but at that time, I that was a real adjustment for me. That was one of my first big like life changing things, because I was still young. But you know, I got acquainted with it real quick. I had no issues with having Torres Smith. I had no issues with Smith being a part of my name. I had no issues with it. It was just I just didn't want to drop Logan. I was certain I wanted that name to stay, regardless of the capacity that we had to be in. So,
If you couldn't do music anymore, what the would you do?
what the will Lil E or Lor Reese do? I'll tell you one thing: those names wouldn't exist. Well, Lil E would, because I was born with that name. What I would be doing is acting. Y'all might be like, why not comedy? You're a goofball. Nah, I wouldn't. Nah, comedy. I'll be like Shane Gills at the ESPYs. Backlash. Now, I'm not talking about WWE backlash. I'm talking about real life backlash. No, seriously, acting. When I was little, before I even started writing rhymes and stuff, I wanted to be an actor. My grandmother asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said an actor. I was so devoted on it. And I remember, what was the movie? Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 2. I remember on the radio they had like a casting call. And I told my mom, I was like, I want to be in it. But she was like, you got to be very serious. And at that time, you know, I know I wouldn't have, it would not have worked out. And I say that because I would have been so geeked seeing Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, Taylor Lautner and all them, especially Kristen Stewart, because I was a big Kristen Stewart fan when I was little. I wouldn't, you know, I would be too hyper. And it would, and you know, things wouldn't really operate. But if it was like that now, it would be totally different. Like, like I heard Stranger Things is having a season 3. I mean, not Strangers, Euphoria having a season 3. I don't know if they finished wrapping film. I would greatly like to be there, even if I'm a background character. I would like to be in Euphoria season 3. Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya Coleman, yeah. But acting, number one, if music never came about.
Why the should people care about Lor Reese?
Why people should care about Lor Reese? He's not like Lil E. I'll tell you that much. He's not like Lil E. Lor Reese he's very, very chill. There are some things he does say where it kind of gets a little crazy, but he knows how to bring it back. It's not like he's not going to go off the railings or anything. It's just how he expresses things, you know? Lor Reese, he's someone who he just really cares about what he's making sure that the stuff he does benefits people in any capacity. And now, albeit off the record, I told people in the past, the name Lor Reese, I don't want people to acknowledge me by Lor Reese. I just want people to know me as Ethan. Because Lor Reese and Ethan are kind of the same person. But Ethan and Lil E are a little this far off. But Lor Reese, he's very chill. He's someone who is supportive, very, very supportive of any and everybody he comes in contact with, regardless of what they are wanting to do. He always try to ensure that person or that group that they can rely on him, even if he got things going on that's kind of hindering things for himself. He still tries and he still tries his best to make sure other people feel good and are confident to do what they do. Because Lor Reese, he's very intelligent. Very intelligent. He tries his best to help people understand certain things that they may have not been exposed to yet. And for some people, it may come across like, well, why are you telling me this? I don't want to hear this now. But it doesn't matter if you don't if you don't listen to it now and don't have it applied to you now. But later on, I want you to feel that, okay, I remember him telling me this. Now I'm going through the situation. I remember what he said, and now I'm going to use what he said to help me get through these situations. Everybody go through stuff. Everybody's not going to go through, it's not going to be a point where everybody go through nothing. It's all phases of life. I saw somebody yesterday, shout out to you, at the mall. He had a t-shirt on that said, "Fun things ruined by responsibilities." I kind of chuckled to myself. He's not wrong. Once you get older, you got a crap ton of responsibilities. So me seeing that shirt, that kind of proved my point. And that's kind of how I want people to view things. I'm not forcing my own perspectives and narratives on people. I just want people to be aware and have that awareness so when those things do come up, they know how to handle it. Especially for the people you really care about. I can't save everybody, and I won't. But the ones I'm closest to, I want them to be able to know how to handle situations that will come up expectedly or unexpectedly. I don't want nobody feeling like they got to run on a goose chase, duck, goose to try to chase after something. So that's kind of why you should really focus on the Lor Reese. I'm not going to say Lil E. Don't worry about that. No.
All right, man. Appreciate you pulling up on us with the time being. You got anything you want people to know about? Any release dates coming up? Any new tracks dropping?
Yes. Next Monday, the 28th, Lil E will be dropping his first single of the year, Plan B One Step, like I mentioned earlier. And then the following week, which would be Sunday, the 3rd of August, Lil E again is dropping another track. I will not say what it is. I won't even give you a hint of what it could be. But just know, those two projects are coming up. And off the record, people asking for the album. Like I said, I had some things going on. I still have those things going on. But I did not forget about it. I know I haven't posted frequently in a while, or let alone about the album in a while. But I didn't forget about it. There is one thing I do not have, and that's a cover art, official cover art. But what I do have is supporters. I have Dre, I have my sister. Shout out Jason in LA, helping me as well. So I have, it's my first album. I don't, I have people to ask, to kind of see how I should go about things, especially Dre. Dre has more albums than I do. He has more albums than I have songs out on platforms. So, you know, that's what. So look forward to that. I know we're in the middle of July. Summertime is the peak of summertime, I should say, is coming to an end. But I want to give people something. I don't want to, leave them hanging. I don't want to keep promoting stuff that's I don't have a date for. So those two songs, look out for it. I will be posting about them. So follow me on Instagram. Baltimore up next 300. And yeah, I will be back here soon. So if any of y'all had the kicks and giggles and knee slappers and all that from Lil E talking, when I come back, y'all be giggling a lot more. So look out for that. Thank you, Dre, Ty, for having me.
Lor Reese, appreciate you, man. All right, Ty, you got anything? Where can people find you? You got anything dropping as well, too?
Dreams the Motivations on all platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. We will be dropping a book soon. I know I said that last time I came up, but it's coming out. Just putting a couple of things together, and yeah, just stay tuned for that.
We having a book release at?
Well, it's gonna be releasing. It's just teaching artists like how to release music.
Oh, okay.
So like different avenues you could take, and
Oh, you know what? When let me know when that drop, because I'll send to my homeboy. Shout out Killer Cam Morris. Yeah, because he's trying to get into. I mean, he's got songs recorded, but having that as a tool to show him, I can send him that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure.
I got you. I definitely got you. Like I said, I'm just putting little finished things
Right,
in there.
yeah.
And then it'll be out on Amazon and things like that. So
That.
hey, yeah.
All right. And you already know, if you don't know, it's retro _ Dre in the building. You already know, man. Capital R, lowercase E, capital T, RO, lowercase _ lowercase D, lowercase R, capital E, man. The RTE stands for real time experience. If you ain't know it, you know it right now. I got an album dropping in the fall, winter of 2025. Summer, if everything goes right, it might be out by the end of the summer, but it's only up from here. Part 3 dropping at the end or before the end of this year, so be on the lookout. Single Keep Pushing is out right now. If you haven't heard it, search it. Keep Pushing by Retro Dre is out right now on all platforms. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at retro _ Dre. TikTok, same thing. YouTube, same thing. And everywhere else, same thing. On streaming platforms, I'm there. You already know that. If you see a retro space D.R.E, that's me as well. I just alterated my name so you see 2 instead of just 1. So, yeah.
Last thing. If anybody having issues finding my Apple Music or Spotify, it is Lor Reese, LOR Reese with the $S dash Lil E on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube. Follow me if you want to. Stream if you want to. Enjoy if you want to. Laugh if you want to. But just know that's how it's spelled. So if anybody's having issues, that's how it's spelled.
All right, we appreciate you all for being a part of Why the Do You Make Music podcast. And of course, shout out to AMI Studios for giving us a home, because without them, we would not be here right now. We would be doing this on a street corner or in the car somewhere. So we definitely appreciate the environment. Y'all want to get y'all recordings and y'all studio quality, etiquette, sound, sonics, pull up. Follow AM Artist Mill Studios on Instagram. Search up AMI Studios NC.com to check out our rates, prices, and what we do here. We're a production studio. We're not just a recording studio. We're a production studio, which means we help with your productions as well as being able to get the cleanest and most crispest sound in North Carolina. So with that being said, pull up the AMI Studios, man, where you get your crispy, your professional recordings. If you're an artist, you're an audio book narrator, you're a business, because even though every artist is a business, actual corporate businesses that need vocals and studios for doing voiceovers and professional projects, y'all hit us up. But also, with that being said, thank you. Why the are you here anyway? We appreciate you. Until next time, we'll see you. We out.